Welcome to the Financially Free Journey podcast, and I am your host, Courtney Dyer. This podcast aims to dispel the seemingly complex topic of personal finances, money management, debt, credit, investing, and even retirement. And today's episode is all about building a real estate portfolio for cash flow. And we are going to talk about the why and the how. But before we do that, I wanted to take a minute to say thank you so much to the listeners. You guys are the reason why I record these episodes every week, and I have so much passion for helping you with your finances. And I wanted to take a moment and read just a couple of the reviews that have come through on the podcast. If you go to the podcast on iTunes, you can see how to submit a review. You just click write a review, hit 5 stars, and submit, and you are done. And out of the reviews we've gotten recently, I am just so excited. Sarah Elton wrote, "Courtney knows her stuff. She has been a great help to our family and our journey to FI, financial independence. Lots of actionable tips, advice, and motivation." Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate, again, the support and the vulnerability to be able to write that and to help out the show. And I wanted to just share one more. It says, "Talk about it." And this is from Casey Allen. And Casey, we go way back. We've actually worked together in the past. And Casey wrote, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Courtney has been a leader for me for a while now. So glad I still have had, that I am able to get some life lessons and coaching from her. Super helpful and knowledgeable. Thumbs up and muscle emoji. So thank you so much, Casey. Guys, I appreciate it. And if you haven't gone and left a review, it helps out the show tremendously because it gives us the ability to get in front of more listeners and help them with their financially free journey. So again, go to the podcast wherever you're listening, click write a review, and let me know what you like about the podcast. What topics do you like hearing, or what do you want to hear in the future? I am here to answer your questions and to help you with your specific goals. So thank you again, guys. Okay, so let's start off this episode with a quote. I love quotes. 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. More money has been made in real estate than in all industrial investments combined. The wise young man or wage earner of today invests his money in real estate. And that was Andrew Carnegie. That quote is decades old, but it is still just as true today as it was then. The rage today is flipping houses. We've got all the different shows on HGTV, or buying them wholesale and turning a short-term profit. And while those activities are absolutely profitable, they are not the long-term sustainable game when it comes to real estate. And this episode is all about playing the real estate long game in order to build wealth and sustainable cash flow for your ability to be financially free. So let's first talk about factors of great residential real estate properties for investments. Now, I want you to keep in mind that not all of these factors are going to be perfect on each rental property, but you do want to try and positively maximize these factors as much as you can. So here's 4 factors to think about. Location, 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 rentability, expenses, and appreciation. Again, those are the main suggested considerations when you're looking at a potential real estate property, but you're also going to be looking at things like the age of the property, the cost of expected repairs, improvements, and the list goes on. Okay, so now that you're ready to get started and to buy your first rental property, you have the down payment saved, you're ready to go. It's time to make an informed decision. But first things first, you've got to know your market area. Take the time to do a thorough analysis of the market area that you're planning on buying in. You need to make sure that you research the area adequately enough to have comparisons available for the properties that you're looking at buying. So learn what properties are selling well in the area and in your price range. Do some research at the courthouse for areas where homes are selling for cash. Investors are normally cash buyers, so you're going to know the areas other investors are buying, and they're very experienced. So it's a great opportunity for you to see what they're doing and then to get in on that market. So second, you need to learn how to value properties. Learn how real estate agents do what's called a CMA, comparative market analysis. The first thing most successful investors will tell you is to buy below market value. This locks in a profit at the closing table. It also makes it easier to generate an acceptable, profitable cash flow when mortgage payments are lower. Next, you're going to need to look at analyzing rentals and the competition. So dig into the local media where rentals are advertised, both print and online, like in Craigslist. When you're researching a neighborhood, get the average rental amounts for the type of property that you're considering buying. How many are available in the area? Are owners offering incentives like, free utilities or free months to move in? Know what you can expect for rent before you buy a property. Now you need to nail down the expenses. The expenses here are the normal ones, like normal repairs, real estate taxes, insurance, all the things that are going to apply to a property in that area. But a common mistake here is just as bad as getting locked into, below market rent for a year and throwing away profit. The condition of actual properties that you're considering is a totally separate thing, though you are going to want to budget for obvious repairs and you're going to want to know what's coming at you for an older property. So keep that in mind. Lastly, you are going to want to locate bargains and negotiate a deal on a property. If you pay retail for a rental property, you're losing profits. So now that we've talked about the location process, let's talk about some specific sources for the best deals on rental properties. Now, we all know about foreclosures and the great deals that can be found with foreclosures. However, a big however, the massive influx of foreclosures like we experienced within the past 10 years is gone. Many of the foreclosures that you see today are in extremely bad condition, and they're going to need extensive remodeling and work in order for you to rent out the property. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be following the foreclosure market through sites like realtytrack.com, because you can still find some diamonds in the rough. A top source for finding a great deal is looking for owners in distress. Constantly monitor media and online sources for owners who are in distress. These are people who are, for financial reasons, they've got to sell their house in a hurry and in a situation that they can, offer you a deal below current market value. So perhaps they have medical expenses, they've been laid off of work, or they just need to move for employment in a hurry. So do keyword searches on Craigslist, Facebook, places where you can find listings by owners with phrases like must sell or taking all offers. Another great way to find steal deals is pre-foreclosures. Now, pre-foreclosures present an opportunity for investors to locate properties before foreclosure so that they can buy it at a discount to the full market value. RealtyTrack that I just mentioned is one of those sites, and they have sections just for these types of listings. Now, finally, work with a good wholesaler and a fix flip investor. Real estate wholesalers that are good at what they do are a great source for rental homes. If you understand their role in selling the rental property investor market, then they know that you want to buy below market value and that the properties should be ready to rent. Fix and flip investors also sell mostly to rental property buyers, so they do know what you want and they definitely provide a ready to rent property. So before we close out the episode, I wanted to take a moment. I had a question come through Instagram from a listener, and the question said, "Hi Courtney, my name is Jason, and my question is about using equity from a property you own in order to buy additional properties. Yay or nay?" Well, Jason, I appreciate the question, and I know this is a philosophy that a lot of real estate investors actually talk about. It's a big topic in the real estate world. Now, is it a good or is it a bad idea to use your equity to purchase additional properties? As you pay down mortgages, you may want to leverage your equity to be able to buy an additional property, but I do say to do this with extreme caution. The crash of 2007 caused many real estate investors to go under because they were way over leveraged and frankly, they couldn't maintain rents and keeping that minimum mortgage and the first and the second payment was too strenuous. And this brings me back to the steps that we talked about earlier when it comes to market research. If you're looking at the location and the rentability, the expenses and the appreciation of a property, you are going to make sure that you're mitigating that risk fully. And so again, using the equity in your home or in a existing rental property that you own is an option, but make sure you have done your research and you are mitigating risk so you're not getting into a situation where you cannot maintain that mortgage that you have on the property. Thank you so much, Jason, for the question. I really appreciate it. And thank you for tuning into today's episode, guys. I would love for you to send in your questions for a chance to be featured during an upcoming episode. Send your questions to financiallyfreejourneypodcast@gmail.com, or if you're not already, go follow us on Instagram. It's @financiallyfreejourney. You can send me a message on there. And there's Twitter @financiallyj, and I post daily tips, motivation to help you with your financially free journey. Until next time.